The number one source of friction in your engine is not what you think. Piston rings rubbing against the cylinder walls generate more friction than any other part of the engine. More friction and temperature means more wear and less horsepower. Fortunately, the team at Total Seal knows how to reduce friction and wear through innovative piston ring design. If it takes a piston, Total Seal can build a better ring.
For more than a decade, FTI has strived to become the leader in the aftermarket performance transmission and converter industry. We've joined forces with McLeod Driveline Components under the leadership of Top Fuel Funny Car pilot Paul Lee, and now have a larger distribution network, more resources, and more power. Come see us in the pits and ask how you can join the FTI family. It's not cheating, it is the competitive edge.
This is WFO Radio.
Hey everybody, WFO Radio is back. We're getting closer and closer to the start of the 75th season of the National Hot Rod Association at the Amalie Oil NHRA Gatornationals, and I am super excited about today's show. It's a long time coming. You know, there's going to be a lot of legends out there in the 75th season, but this is kind of correcting, maybe I don't want to call it an old wrong, but definitely just an unfortunate happening. This is our guest's first appearance on WFO Radio, and I am such a fan. My dad was such a fan. There's a really great story as to what inspired the connection. But Joe Amato, one of the greatest of all time, is on this show. We connected earlier this morning, and it is happening. It is going to be great. I ask you to please share the show, repost on your social. If you're a fan of NHRA Drag Racing, if you're a fan of Joe, that one or this one, get it out there. It is going to be great. Also, we've got Maddie Gordon and Jasmine Salinas. They came down to Miami last week on Thursday. We were able to do a on-location interview from the tip of South Beach. We were out there, boats going by, great stuff. They were supporting the Unrivaled tournament in Miami. They got on the air on 104.3 WQAM. They talked NHRA Drag Racing, the Gatornationals, for over 20 minutes on Sports Talk Miami, which is huge. Just so many great things. As you know, we've got great sponsors. We've got the Chasing Speed show on Vice. We're going to get into all of that, but let's bring on the guest of honor, one of the true greats. He'll be at the Amalie Oil NHRA Gatornationals, Mr. Joe Amato. Joe, welcome to the show.
Hi, Joe. Glad to be here. And I guess I've been on the road too much. You couldn't tag me down to get me on. I know you've asked a couple of times. We've talked about it, but we've never really connected. I'm really glad we did it this time.
Well, I was very appreciative. The funny story is this, and you're right. At the track, we've talked about you coming on the show. It just hasn't worked out. But I believe in things happening naturally, right? 2 weeks ago, or whenever I reached out to you, I swear this is true. I had a dream. And in the dream, my dad, who passed away last year, like there was a whole thing. But anyway, was wearing a Joe Amato t-shirt. And I thought, man, this is it. I gotta reach out to have Joe. Joe's going to be on. He's going to be at the Gators. This is a big season. This is the perfect moment. And you made it happen. So thank you.
It worked out perfect. You sent me a text, and I was in Australia, I think, on a boat, and we were 17 hours different in time zone. So I sent you a text back. I said, well, that was definitely, and we kind of texted back and forth and communicated, and here we are. Because the 75th anniversary is really starting to ramp up. I've noticed on the website in the last couple of days there, NHRA is really starting to put the heat to the metal and going to do a lot for the fans. And they're bringing some of the legends back to interface with the fans. So it's going to be a great, exciting year. And I'm really looking forward to it and can't wait to get started.
Yeah, I agree. It's a big year, the big milestones, 25. I guess they were happy that it's still going. And then 50. Oh, man, this is a big deal. 75 Diamond anniversary. They're breaking out all the stops. We got this TV show on Vice going. I don't expect you got to see that with your being on the boat and everything out of the world. But it was really good last week. And the Gators, what an event. I was there when you broke the 260 mile per hour mark. I watched that. Me and my dad stood next to the car. And let's start there. You started in 1982, Top Fuel, but a couple of years into it, you guys got a Crazy idea. Let's move the wing. What was that like?
Well, Tim Richards was the brains behind that, and he talked with Eldon Rasmussen, who was an IndyCar guy, and they conferred together about to try and make the wing a true wing versus using it like an air dam, just pushing down on the car. So they came up with the idea to put the wing up real tall and lay it back so there'd leverage any downforce by having a lever by the wing being back. So we built it and we showed up in Gainesville and everybody looked at us and kind of laughed. I believe the speed record at the time was 256. The very first run on the car it went 260, then it went 262, and then I think it went 264. So it was amazing how quick it changed the speed thing around, and everybody went crazy. And a couple next race, everybody has the same thing. They all went out and had them made. But it was Tim Richards gets the credit, and Eldon Rasmussen, the IndyCar guy, for coming up with the technology. I was lucky enough to drive it, and it started our season off and really got us going. And we ended up winning the championship in '84.
The willingness to try, though, to me, that's where it comes from. We see it to this day where some racers maybe get stuck in what has been working as opposed to what could be the next, technology.
Well, the difference in cars today, most of the cars, they're cookie cutter. You can't really be too creative because the rules are kind of blocking that. The wings are the wings and the cars are the cars. In the old days when we raced, when Ormsby was around and Garlitz and all, everybody came out with new ideas. I was Joe Amato, the test pilot, many times, trying to run ground effects on a car. I remember we were in Texas and we stayed to test after the race, and we had designed a small wing for the car, and we put ground effects on the car. And I ran it to half track, I ran it to 3/4 track, and it seemed to go. So then we were going to take the wing down even smaller, almost no wing. And I got the 3/4 track, and the car started to come around on me. It was going airborne. So I was lucky enough to get off the gas and pull the parachute, and it saved the car. But that was Joe Amato, the test pilot, in there seeing what he could do. But we never really got the ground effects to pull down enough, like the wing, to take the car off, because the weight of the ground effects slowed the ET down. So it was a cost-effective, ineffective, because the weight made you better, more efficient, but the weight on the car slowed it down. So it didn't really help you any. But that was one thing Tim Richards always was looking out to try and, make the car be more fuel efficient, changing the wings and changing the air pods on it, and just little things you try and do. And beside in the motor, that's one thing within the motor, everybody's going down different roads, and they have that restricted a little bit today where they only allow certain things. But the cars are still going unbelievably fast. If you look back when I was racing the quarter mile, we were going like 330. Now they're doing 340 in the 8th mile. I mean, 1,000 feet.
Yeah.
But it's crazy how the technology has advanced to let them keep going faster and faster. But the only thing is, with their bigger bombs, when they blow up, they really blow up. And boy, some of the stuff is crazy out there.
Truly, truly. We've got an audience, live audience. They're sharing the show. Lonnie, 2 great Joes. I pull myself out of that comment. We got 1 great Joe here. Greetings, Joe Amato. People saying what up. Old school legend in the house. The great Joe Amato's my brother's favorite of all time. Like, you did have an army of fans. Like, people loved your style. You came onto the scene, and my observation, I would love your take on what I'm about to say, is that you wanted to win and you wanted to be fast, but you wanted to extend you had to look good doing it. The chrome roll cages, the cars were beautiful, everything first class, not just a fast car, a car that was also in many ways a showpiece. Where did that come from?
Well, I always had, I love candy apple red cars, and I love chrome. And when we made cars, back to our alcohol cars, we had candy apple red alcohol dragsters, and my funny cars were, when I was running alcohol funny car back in the day when I first started, it was always, everything had to be nice. Do all the aluminum was anodized and colored, and we just always had nice stuff. And I always keep my stuff nice. Everything I own, I take real good care of. If somebody buys a used car off me, they're getting something that was I didn't burn the tires too much. It was something well kept and well earned the price they're paying. They're stealing it. But the dragsters and that chrome roll bar, that was something until the NHRA wouldn't let me put the chrome roll bars on anymore because they said they couldn't see the weld to make sure it was okay. But we just loved having good cars and making them look pretty. And that's what Joe Amato's style was all along.
Good and fast and really cool. Now you mentioned the 340. I want to go back to that in that it is amazing. And you've got a really cool situation. You're not at all of our races for a very good reason. You're traveling the world. We'll talk about that in a few minutes because I'm sure you've developed some really amazing wisdoms that we can learn from, having seen so much. But the 340 stuff, just wow. Like how does it hit you knowing that now 340 to 1,000, it became commonplace last year. Brittany, of course, and Sean Langdon and Doug Coletta, that these guys are figuring out 0 to 340 and 3.7 seconds. Someone who likes to go fast. Does that even make sense?
It's unbelievably fast. I mean, to go 300 in a short distance is so crazy. But the scary part for me when they started getting up in those ranges was at one point they used to have a rev limiter rule where they would try and keep the cars at 330 miles an hour because there's always an issue with the tires. And all of a sudden now we're going 340 and nobody seems to be worrying about rev limiters. And it's good for the fans to see those big numbers, but I just worry always about the safety, especially after I had an issue with a tire with Darrell Russell. So you always think back and you just worry about the safety because the explosion some of these people have had on the cars, the way they blow up, especially the funny cars. I mean, it's amazing. They blow up in your face like that and they walk away literally. That's just how the technology and the safety improvements on the cars, the way they build them, it's definitely a good thing for the safety of the drivers, but it's scary because it's just like a big bomb going ready to go off. And that's maybe why people get excited about coming to the races to watch some of that stuff.
Oh, absolutely. Monica says, always great to see Joe Amato. Big wing equals big speed. Just you left an impression. You mentioned Darrell Russell, and I understand your view on everything safety is all those lessons were learned in the most just intense and horrific way. But he left a great impression on the sport because a lot of safety innovations came directly from that.
Yeah, Darrell definitely has a good legacy. You can say things people have been able to get through issues and wrecks because of some of the safety issues that came about because of what happened to him and Eric Medlin and just a lot of different people. John Force's team put a lot of technology through Ford into funny cars to make them safer. I mean, I sat in somebody's car about 2 years ago. I was at the races and I couldn't believe how it was so tight in there compared to how mine used to be. We used to have a little headrest and that was it. Now there's all kind of safety padding, not just a little piece of foam on the roll bars. Everything, your head can't go too far right and left. I remember I blew a tire once and bounced off the left guard wall pretty hard, and it rattled my brain. Well, you wouldn't have that issues with now because my head can't go more than an inch right or left, and there's really thick foam to try and do it in the cars today. So the technology has definitely made the cars a lot safer to drive, and the engineering has made them a lot faster. And it's just amazing the speeds they're able to do, and it makes the racing real exciting. No matter where I am in the world, when it's on race day, I'm either trying to follow it on the TV, on the phone, or just looking at the results. And I always like to look at all the numbers and see how the drivers are doing and how they're respond to the pressures. And I almost can envision myself being in that situation. So it kind of keeps me actively involved in my head, even though I'm not there day to day because I'm out traveling the world.
Yeah, and I can't imagine what's that like. I want to ask you all about that, but in its own segment, I reached out to Daryl Gwynn. Daryl from down here. And as soon as you were coming on, I was like, hey, Daryl, give me a thought about Joe. Like, what do you think? And he just mentioned that you had a knack for winning those $100,000 bonus races. And that he was like, we were usually the car to beat or one of the cars to beat. And that Joe would just win those $100,000 races. The Bud Top Fuel Classic, I think you won it 6 times, something like that. What was it that you were able to rise to the occasion at those specialty races where there were 6 figures out there on the line?
I guess it's because I like money. So and I know what it costs to race. So when they had money up to race, it motivated me and my team because they all got a share of the money. So everybody was motivated to do the job, and it seemed like you reached in a little deeper, and Tim Richards would set the car up a little better, and we just went out there and tried to win the money races. And we had an uncanny knack of winning a lot of them. I mean, I look back at my different trophies because I had all my trophies in my base of my house, and I actually sold that house and built a different one. So I'm in the process of actually building a museum in Music, Pennsylvania, where I was my first A&A speed shop. We have a museum that I have the 10,000-foot building there. That was a retail store. And I was just going over the blueprints with my girl in my office, and because we're tore the building all apart and we're rebuilding it inside, and then we're going to put the museum in there. And I have three of my ex-dragster cars. I have my Superman car, a Valvoline car, and a Keystone car. And I have a bunch of memorabilia. I have enough stuff to I probably have 500 framed posters and pictures, and I have everything. I have 60 or 70 Wallies and fire suits. I've got helmets. I probably got 30, 40 helmets. So I've got a lot of neat stuff. I'm going to make a real cool museum. It's going to be a nonprofit. So any of the whatever money generates going to be spread through the neighborhood of Pennsylvania, Scranton, Wilkes-Barre area. And I'm looking forward to putting that together and having some special events there. We're going to use it for a special event place beside the museum. So it's something I'm looking forward to, and having all the memories of racing guys like Daryl Gwynn and the videos and all that kind of stuff. I mean, we're lucky to be able to do what we do and to continue the legacy of NHRA Drag Racing in Pennsylvania.
That is amazing. I love it. I can't wait to know when to go and check that out. Joe, you grew up fast. You had to leave school at 16 years old. Nowadays, we're all looking for, like that tip, that advice, that hardworking nugget that helps us get over to the next level. Like, call them life hacks. But you had to talk about getting thrown into the fire with your family and your family business. And they say sink or swim, and boy, did you swim. Do you ever reconnect in your mind with 16-year-old Joe and think back to what you accomplished in those first couple of years and how hard that was?
Well, I think back a lot about that because, I talk to a lot of kids, and sometimes I'll speak at different places where there's kids involved. And I always tell them to find a job that you like what you're doing, and then the money will come because you'll do a good job of what you like. But if you do something where you hate to get up on Monday morning, go to work, you're not going to do good. So you're not going to make any money. So it's just, you have to work hard and be willing to put your body on the line and do what you have to do. If you have to work 7 days a week, you work 7 days a week. And that's what I did when I was 16 years old, took over my father's speed shop. We had a small speed shop, A&A speed shop in Music, Pennsylvania. My dad started that, and he drove a Hudson, didn't even know what a spark plug was. But he had enough brains to open a speed shop because he saw a lot of guys going from the Scranton, Wilkes-Barre area out to New Jersey to buy parts because there was no speed shops around. So he opened one, and it flourished. It was a small business when I took it over, and by the time I was 18 and my friends were graduating high school, I had two stores going, and I built it into a Keystone automotive warehouse with the 1,200 employees and a large 1,000,000 square foot of warehousing. And, we were delivering ahead of our time. You could call me from Ohio and I'd have a part to you the next day from Pennsylvania. So we had a system set up like everybody's bragging about how they do it today. You can get on the phone. We were doing that 50 years ago. And that company is still in existence, Keystone Automotive. It's owned by LKQ, which is like Kynes Quality. It's a French company, and they're all over the world. They're almost like $1 billion company, and they're the biggest performance warehouse and distributor in the country. So it was nice to see something you started continue and become the biggest and the best and the baddest in that business. But I was just so fortunate that I don't know. I just loved what I did, and it took whatever I had to do, I did, and I was successful. And then I got lucky. I got involved in racing, and that complemented Keystone Automotive because I could get sponsorships because people wanted to be in my warehouse because I could sell them millions of dollars worth of parts. So, but they had to give me some money for the race car to be on it with a sticker. So one thing helped the other, and they worked back and forth, and we were able to do a great thing and build a dynasty of automotive parts distribution and retail stores. And I had a great team. I had a great amount of people that were part of me, whether it was my crew on my race team or my team that ran Keystone Automotive and my A&A Auto stores. But I have to give a lot of credit to, because they allowed me to race, and I could come back on Monday and I knew that the business was in good hands and they were doing a good job with it. So we had a lot of key people that were very complimentary to what I do, just like what you do from NHRA. I mean, sometimes you're probably not appreciated, but I see you on the starting line, and you're with the speaker, and you're on top of it. You're paying attention. You can tell you like what you do because you do a good job with it. You're grabbing people, you're interviewing people between all the noise and all. So it's, you do a great job, Joe. What you do, I admire you.
I'm humbled by you saying that. Thank you. I do like what I do. You've definitely, my dad brought me out there for years. I went looking for a photo of you, my dad, and me. I'm a little kid, right? Maybe like 11. And it was a great photo. I couldn't find it though. Maybe I'll dig it up later. Maybe it's at my mom's, but he put it in me, the passion for the cars, the drag racing, the sound, the speed, the fury. But I love extracting the stories. And I know that there's a kid just like me in the grandstands that is got a lot of stuff to choose from nowadays. And I want him to choose drag racing because it's the coolest thing in the world. And so I do hustle as best as I can. Thank you for recognizing that.
It's amazing. I'm on Facebook on my name, and I have a big following, but I do what I call the Life is Good tour. I'm always posting from all my travel. I put pictures up and all. And it's amazing how many fans post a picture that are one of my people, and they show a picture of me when the kid was 10 years old or 15 years old with their dad, or maybe not, and they post these pictures of, and now they're 50 or 60 years old because it's a long time ago. But there's so many fans out there. I remember when they were fans and kids, and they came around to my pit, and I was nice enough to talk to them and take a picture with them. And that's nice to see that, because it's a lot of people sometimes get too busy and don't have the time for the fans, and that's the name of the game. You got to be nice to the fans. That's one thing about NHRA drag racing, better than any other form of motorsports. The fans have access to the people, and going to a race live compared to even watching it on TV, even though the TV coverage has really been really great the past couple of years, getting better all the time. But a live event is amazing, and it's nice to see that happen. And there's more drag races tracks being put back into use by the different associations, which is nice to see, because I think there's a lot of grassroots people out there that love racing something, whether they're driving their family cars on the run with your brung or whatever. But it just get more people involved in racing, and I think that's good for the sport.
Totally agree. And this is a big year. We got this new TV show called Chasing Speed out there on Vice TV, which is like kind of reality behind the scenes, showcasing what the sport is, but with the whole goal of making people aware that this is out there and that it's just an amazing life experience. You'll be at the Amalie Oil NHRA Gatornationals coming up. Daryl is going to be there. I believe Garlett's definitely going to be there. I think Snake going to be there. I think Shirley going to be there. We're bringing out the legends. Bob Fry going to be there. And so we're going to have a lot of people. That's always a huge event regardless. 75th season of NHRA, I'm sure it's going to be massive. What do you like best about when they call you out as a legend? Like, what do you like to do with your day when you're at the track hanging out? Like, we got some people in the chat. They're like, Joe, do you want to drive a race car? I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. But what do you like to do when you're at the track, doing the role as a legend?
Well, I like to be busy. Whether we do a question and answer or an autograph session or interface with the fans, that's one thing. Going back to the races, if I'm going to be there, I'd want to be with the fans and just be interfacing. And so that's one good thing. NHRA sets me up with some different autograph sessions or a question and answer. And you don't get that many people, but you get enough to be active and be part of the event. Like several years ago when they put the spec Toyotas up and they let us all drive them and we raced each other, that was kind of a cool event. I wish they'd have some Hellcat Demons or something, Red Eyes or something really fast to let us go race those, but that's hard to put together. But having the snake. I think Kenny Bernstein might be coming over
Bernstein too. Yes, Bernstein as well.
Because he might come over earlier. I told him come over in my house in Florida and we'll play a little golf before we go over the race. And going up to Don Garlis is a Hall of Fame on Thursday night is always good there. So that's a great event. And then I'm going to leave from there and go Monday over to the NHRA, no, the Motorsports Hall of Fame in Daytona. It's that Tuesday and Wednesday after the Gainesville race, and go over there and spend some time over there. I think the Snake and some of the other guys are going over too. But it's a place I was involved in, and I have I'm in their Hall of Fame, and most of the guys in the sport are. I'm actually on their nominating committee to help vote for future drag racers, and so it's all fun. Just being part of the motorsports industry and still being able to be around a little bit when I'm around in town. It's definitely special.
All right, like you mentioned Snake, you mentioned Bernstein, you mentioned those guys. I would love to know, like, when you think back at your peers, which of them do you regard highly, of course, but I mean in they were tough kind of way. Like, what were these guys like to actually go toe to toe with? Bernstein, clearly one of the greatest of all time. Snake, like, you were in the golden era, racing against that bridge era, like the guys who started it. You raced against Scarlets, you raced against Gwen, you mentioned Ormsby. Just free speak about some of these legends that you raced against and what were they like?
Well, to start with, who probably got me motivated at the beginning to be a top fuel racer was Don Garlis. He came to Island Dragway in Englishtown, New Jersey when I was, probably 16 or 18 years old, and I saw him race there. I saw him actually go off the end of the track and go over the railroad tracks because his car's parachute didn't open, but he didn't crash. But so I saw Garlis at an early age racing, and so when I was able to race him eventually, that was like really special because he was still racing and I got into top fuel. But going back to like Kenny Bernstein, he was really, I would say, a sore loser. If he thought he could be you, he was really aggressive. And if he lost, he wasn't really a good loser. But that's what made him a good winner, though, because winning was everything to him, and losing, he was disappointed. But the snake used to think that I was, I don't know, a rich kid with too much money and too much sponsor money because I had a full-time job, and he didn't realize that I worked. Because I ran Keystone Automotive. I was always home on Monday morning in the office from wherever I was in the country because I was running the business with 1,200 employees. And Snake thought, well, it was like a hobby for me because I had this business. But he didn't realize the hobby was paying for the business so I could have good technology and a fast race car. And so I used to love beating him special because I know it bothered him a lot. But Ormsby, that was when we had that 1990 winner take all. I mean, that was but we had some classic races before that, even up and down. And Lee Beard, his crew chief, and Timmy used to.
One moment, please. There we go.
Timmy Richards and Ormsby's crew chief Beard, they used to go at it pretty good. But I've had a lot of good memories with the people, and it's fun to talk to them now. We're all more on a friendly basis. We're more relaxed. We can go play golf, me and Bernstein, and we're worrying about the putts and for $5 or whatever. It's kind of fun. But I've had a great career, and I was lucky to. I like you said, the golden era. I think I grew up in the golden era of all the names and the legends that started it from the beginning. Yet on the other token, it's nice to see a lot of new names. Coming, Darrell Russell and a bunch of these young kids are taking over and coming into the sport, and some of the older guys are getting a little sponsor money and putting cars together. So maybe we can get back to 16-car fields. That would be nice. It's too bad there wasn't some way to figure out how to make it a little more economical to race these cars because it's tough digging up the budget, but somehow people seem to be doing it. And maybe with the more cars in the classes and some of the new kids that are getting involved, it'll bring the stage up a little brighter, and we'll get more people following us. Like
I like that.
We got to raise the level a little bit to get more people involved.
Well, we saw, right, Formula One has exploded and is now like this amazing. It was always big. It was an international thing. But in this era that we're talking about, I feel like NHRA Drag Racing was in its area. They were close. IndyCar, NASCAR, those sports have had their acceleration and pop. I think drag racing is due for one, and hopefully it is coming soon. Which new modern era drivers, like later on in the show, I'm going to play an interview with Maddie Gordon. Ron Capps selected Maddie because she drove alcohol funding car for her family and just did such a great job, learned every job on it. And Ron Capps wants to give her an opportunity. Justin Ashley is out there. Will Smith getting an opportunity. Alcohol racer getting an opportunity. But I don't want to put any ideas in your head. I want to know, like, who catches your eye? Talent, interest, curiosity.
Well, I love Darrell Russell because he's such a maniac on the starting line. I mean, I talk to him sometimes a little bit, keep in touch with him on the phone, no matter where I am, because I just think he's one of the bright stars in the sport. But I love some of these other new people that are bringing in. A few the girls are coming in too, which is good. You got to mix it up, Shirley opened the door for them all, and they seem to do a great job. And Eric Enders, we've always watched her since she was my daughter. Watched her and she was on the Disney Channel driving junior dragsters, and she's part of the reason I married to my wife Andrea, because my daughter wanted to go to the Gatornationals to see Eric Enders like 20 years ago, and I was divorced, and I was at the Gatornationals with Darrell Russell driving, and Andrea, who I hadn't seen in 7 years, came to the races, and we reconnected, and now I'm married 20 years. So,
Wow.
I can, all relates back to drag racing, where I found my future wife, and she's a sweetheart, and we have a blessed life. We travel the world. We have an apartment on a boat. There's a ship out there. If somebody wanted to look and Google it at the world, and it's a 700-foot boat that has 150 apartments on it. It's like a condo, but it's like a cruise ship. Only it's a cruise ship that the 150 people that own the apartments live on. We don't rent it out. We just use it or don't use it. Like my apartment on the ship is empty right now because I'm in Pennsylvania working. But when I just came back I was on it for almost 3 months in Australia, New Zealand. It's actually on its way to Antarctica to do an expedition and go down and hang out with the icebergs and the polar bears and whatever's down there. But we've been on the North Pole, the South Pole on it. We've been all over the world. I mean, literally, it keeps traveling the world, a different route every year, and you can get on and off whenever you want to do it. And there's like 5 restaurants on it. There's a gym. It's a lifestyle on there that you can't even imagine how great it is and how much fun it is. We have a liar's poker game. We have a gin game, Texas Hold'em. I mean, you name it, there's fun to be had on the ship, and it definitely lets you see the world. I've been to, I don't know, every continent there is. I've been everywhere. I mean, it's amazing, and I keep going. It's something you can't describe to anybody, but it's something I've been so blessed in life to be able to have a career drag racing, a career in automotive business. Now it's a career in travel. So the Life is Good tour continues for Joe Amato, believe me.
Okay, so what wonderful lessons can you impart based on the things you've seen? I don't like to admit it, but I haven't been out of the United States, with the exception of a little trip to Canada and Mexico. But here in our continent, I haven't had that. Now that you've seen so much, you had success here in the States, but then now you've seen it all. I mean, maybe not all of it, but you've seen a lot of it. How other people live, what the world is like, other cultures, other concepts of what the world is like. Did that, I don't want to say did it change you, but it did give you new perspective? And if so, what can you share?
Well, it definitely changes your perspective. When you go to an island where there's 200 people live on the island, and they're natives, and they live off the land, they live off the sea, and they take trees and they log out, cut a tree open and hog it out and make that into an outrigger canoe, and they put starboard things on so it doesn't tip over because it's just half of a tree, and they use that to go out and fish with. And then they're raising things. Every family has one pig. They harvest the pig at the end of when it gets big, and that's what they live on for the year is on the meat. I mean, just you get to see things where people and they're happy. It's not that they have a lot of money. They don't have cars. They don't have a lot of the things that people in the United States take for granted. But the people are happy. Whether there's 200 people on the island, we've seen 1,000, we've seen 2,000, we've seen 200,000, 5 million. Everywhere you go, you see different cultures, different people. And we've been to China, India. I mean, it's amazing the what you see out there. The people in the United States have such a good shtick as far as how the government takes care of us and all. People do not appreciate what we have, and then people do not like you don't even have a passport, probably.
I do. I
Okay,
actually
good.
do.
Right.
I have
I
that
mean,
just in case, you know.
but I'm saying, in other words, you should, you're still young, but you don't want to say, oh, I'll wait till I'm 65 to go to Italy. You know what I mean? In other words, my advice to you or anybody else like you is to expand your mind a little bit. To plan a trip, go once a year, go do something special. Maybe you have to, whatever you can afford to do. If you have to drive somewhere, fly somewhere, backpack, whatever, but go do something. Get out of your environment. And then when you're 65, you can look back and said, I've been to all these countries. I've been here, I've been there. Whether it's somewhere in the United States you've never been. When you go to the races, spend an extra day and go around the area and look at all the sites. Don't just go into Denver, Colorado and do the race and leave, even though we're not racing in Denver till they build a new track, hopefully.
Sure.
But you need to do more things like that. Spend more time. I have a lot of friends that have more money than I do that don't do much. They don't travel that much. They might go to Florida in the wintertime, but they don't go anywhere. I mean, and they can afford to do it, just like I can afford to do it because I was lucky. But the point is, you got to do it. You got to get out of your box. You got to be willing to get on a plane and drive. We took back from, it was 24 hours for me coming back from New Zealand. A 2-hour flight, a 2-hour wait, and then a 17-hour flight to get to JFK, and then a 3-hour car ride. But I do that all the time. And it's just second nature. You just watch a lot of movies and have a couple meals and you're here. But
Right.
people don't want to push themselves. If you want to have fun in life and live it to its fullest, when I die on my tombstone, I want to say a life well lived. I wanted people to think of all the employees I had when I had Keystone Automotive, all the lives I affected there, where I helped a lot of people put their kids through college and you name it. That was good for me. And then all the racing fans and the support we had, the Valvoline Say No to Drugs program. I was able to influence a lot of kids speaking at colleges and high schools and to jobs around the country. And then now we still have a great, what our Life is Good tour. We interface with 4,000 or 5,000 people on my Facebook page, and I feed a lot of people input and stuff like that. So my life is still going on, even though I'm older than dirt. But my mind is still working, and I'm still trying to stay healthy and keep having fun. The fun meter every day you got to live it to the fullest. And too many people, they're doggy downers. They think negative, positive. Everything. The cup is always half full. People have to learn to think like that and have that mindset. Because if you think positive, you get positive things happen. If you think negative, negative things happen. So you're in charge of your own life. Nobody can help you fix it. You got to look in the mirror and say, I'm happy with me and I like what I'm doing. And then things get better.
I love that. No, I love hearing that. And it's a great attitude. So I just built a race car, Joe. Like I've decided like the thing I wanted to do was build a race car and go NHRA Super Street Racing.
I love it. I love it.
Instead of traveling.
That's okay. That's okay. At least you're living your dream. That's the key. Live your dream.
The key. That is the key. And I'm excited. And I do and have done what you did recommend, like check out every area around the NHRA race. A little early, stay a little late. Go explore, find a great restaurant. We've got a nice little crew of, the NHRA employees, Jason Logan, Jason Galvin, those guys, Nikki, Josh. We go out, we find a nice restaurant, we go to a cool place, spend time together, enjoy the
That's good. That you're living the dream. Too many people don't have the passion for things. That's why I see kids, they go to college, they get a master's degree, and they get out of college and they expect a job that's going to pay them a lot of money. But they don't have the burn to go and get involved and learn what they need to do to be successful. They just think that they earn being successful because they have that paper and that sheepskin. It doesn't work that way. You got to prove you can be valuable and earn your income. And then but you have to have the passion. The people that have the passion to learn how to play golf when they're 12 years old and work hard through it and get a college degree for free because they're golfers and they earn their way. They have the passion. Not many people have that you can see today. I think we need to instill more passion in people to do what they like to do and not what they have to do.
I agree. I agree. Well, I think this is motivational to our audience, certainly, and I'm hoping that they share it so that the kids in their circle can hear some of this advice. Joe, I've kept you for 40 minutes already. Obviously, we could go all day. I got 1,000 things. Is there anything that you wanted to put out there that I didn't mention by random?
No, I think I've spilled my guts pretty good.
You did. I was thinking about asking you about Don Schumacher because I know you guys had kind of a tight relationship.
I love Don Schumacher. Well,
he was trying to pull you back in till the very end.
Me and Don Schumacher at one time had a love-hate relationship. I always respected what he did because at the time he came into the sport, when he first got his son to drive, I mean, John Forrest was a dominant factor. He was like heads and heels above everybody. But John Schumacher put together a team, a bunch of teams, and 10 or 20 years later, he actually outshined the wins and the championships and everything of John Forrest, who was the lead dog. So it was amazing what he was able to put together. But at the same time, he was ruthless. Like many times, he tried to steal my clutch guy or my crew chief or somebody or take sponsors. I mean, I remember one time he was talking to one of my people, and I talked to the guy, and I talked to him head to head. I go right to his face, and he said, "No, I'm not talking to him." And I go back to my guy standing there, and he showed me the phone. Here, Don's calling me right now. So, I mean, he was at one point a lot of. In his mind, it was business. He wasn't stealing your help. It was a business because he was aggressive. But in the same token, he was a good guy. We got to play golf a bunch and hang out with him. And he's actually lived in Florida, not too far from me. So we spent some time together. And when my wife went through, she had cancer for her throat. He had gone through that years before, and he kind of coached her a little bit about what she was going through. And, you know, it's too bad what had happened. He was doing good, living the lifestyle. He had his boats going. He was enjoying fishing and everything. But he was an aggressive guy, but a class guy when it was all said and done.
Amazing. No, I know that I saw you guys together several times. I just wanted to ask you that. Hey, this was your first WFO experience, but it doesn't have to be your last. I'd love to have you back in the future. I'm sure there's some territory we could cover. But I think people just like hearing you talk, Joe. Like, you're one of the great legends. We grew up with you. You were motivational. And I think some of the things you shared are going to resonate with our audience. So I hope to entice you back in the future as the 2026 season 75th of NHRA rolls out. I know you're going to be at a couple of races. Hopefully we can do
definitely,
that.
Definitely.
Gainesville, and where else is Joe Amato?
Gainesville, Indy, and Las Vegas. So right now that's on the radar. Those three for sure. You never know. I may end up at the World Finals depending on where the boat is, depending how the championship unwinds. You know, it's always fun to be involved when things are close.
Yes. Well, says the guy who got a winner take all final round. Pretty amazing. Joe, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I love the way this came together, so organic and natural. And I appreciate all the kind things that you said about my work. And I thank you for that.
Well, keep up the good work.
Thank you. Thank you, Joe. All right. We'll see you in Gainesville.
We'll see you in Gainesville, buddy. God bless you.
There he goes. Joe Amato, thank you very much. Appreciate you. Joe Amato on WFO. How about that, guys? I ask you, share the show, repost on X, share on Facebook. If you're on YouTube, drop a comment down there in the comment section. What did you think about what Joe had to say? All that great advice for the next generation. It was just tremendous. I could have talked to him all day long. We've got these legends. And you know what? If you have not subscribed to WFO Radio, I would ask you humbly, click subscribe and the bell to enable notifications. Next week on WFO Radio NHRA Nitro, this show, this feed, our podcast feed as well, we will have another legend that you might have heard of. His name is Big Daddy. That's right. Back-to-back Amato Garlits here on WFO Radio. I'm super excited about what we've got going on. Chasing speed, all of that. Look at this guy, says bravo. If you knew how this thing came together, the photo of me, Joe, and my dad, Joe, the three Joes, I'll find that at some point. But when Joe's on the starting line, Amato, he is down there in the middle of it. He gets as close as he can possibly be and sponsor viewing, and he takes it all in, and he loves it so much, you can tell. And he's got a great life. And the fact that a guy like that, who can genuinely do anything in his life, loves NHRA Drag Racing, wants to be out there and a part of it as often as he can. That is amazing. That's all I need to sell it. But Joe is the legend. We've got two future stars coming up after we take a quick break. Jasmine Salinas and Maddie Gordon came down to Miami to support the women of the Unrivaled basketball team. You may recall out in Vegas, we had one of the WNBA players came out on the starting line, was like tapping out, like, oh my gosh, can't take it. It was great. Well, they got invited to Miami. That's where I pretty much live. And so I got a call to come down and do an interview on the tip of South Beach, boats going by, beautiful atmosphere. I really don't know what we even talked about, but we'll play the interview and I will learn then. I had the intention of reviewing the video prior to the Joe Amato stuff happening. It was just going to be that. But then when Joe reached out, like, hey, I'm back, suddenly everything changed. And thanks to Steve Brenwald for changing the artwork and all of that. Guys, look at you guys. Great interview, great show. Garlitz as an encore. Woohoo Garlitz, encore, Big Daddy. Not Bland, Dugenais. Guys, I will be on Dugenais Bland's Not Bland show tonight at 7 p.m. He's going to ask me stuff. I will answer. I will try to emulate Joe Amato's positive attitude. And I really appreciate everybody for saying such nice things about the show. And Joe Amato saying nice things about the show. And more importantly, the work ethic. Trying so hard. Guys, I want to tell you about Larice Motorsports Insurance. Speaking of work ethics, the guys at Larice Motorsports Insurance had a concept that we should be able to insure our racing operations, and nobody was really doing it the way that they wanted to do it, and so they did it themselves. Holden Larice and the team down there created something from nothing. Does that sound familiar? And what they cover, race car, trailer, tools and equipment, pit vehicles, motor homes, all under one motorsports policy. And the thing that's different about their policies is they do not have all these exclusions and exemptions. Last night, I received a video of a racer whose whole operation burned to the ground. And you think about that, and I think about Project Pontiac, and I'm like, oh my gosh, got to be covered. And that's why I reached out to the folks at Larice Motorsports Insurance. Now, these exemptions, right? Do you have race fuel? And I'm not going to name any, macro company, but the big ones, the big giant companies, they will insure your stuff. Right. But is it parked where it's always parked? Oh, no, it's not. You parked it at a friend's house because it's close to the next race. Sorry, not covered. That's a recent one that just happened. Do you have race fuel in your race car trailer? Oh, yeah. Sorry, not covered. Yeah, you can't have race fuel in a race car trailer. How do you not have race fuel in the race car trailer? Like, what's that all about? Everybody's got race fuel in their race car trailer. On the return road, something crazy happens. Like the guy behind you throttle sticks and he smashes into you and it's like, oh gosh, sorry, you're on the return road. Not covered. And that's the difference between Larice and everybody else. So reach out to the guys at Larice. They've got agents throughout the country. I was just hanging out with Jeremy Lerke and Carrie out there at Division 5 Awards. And we talked a little bit about the guys at Larice and the product. And I am covered. I'll tell you what. It's just that simple. So if you got a race car, if you've got a car of consequence, you're going to want to reach out to the folks at Larice Motorsports Insurance. Really appreciate these guys coming on as a sponsor of WFO Radio. All right, when we come back, we're going to play the video. And I sure hope it's great, right? Maddie Gordon, Jasmine Salinas, South Beach, sun setting, twilight, if you will. And it's all coming up right after this.
Redline Oil, formulated to win, proven by me.
Redline Oil, formulated to win.
Formulated to win.
Formulated to win, proven by me.
Formulated to win, proven by me.
Proven by me.
Proven by me.
Redline Oil, formulated to win, proven by me.
Looking to replace your OEM diesel particulate filter or diesel oxidation catalyst? Look no further than DPF XFit, a complete line of aftermarket diesel particulate filters and diesel oxidation catalysts designed as an exact fit OEM replacement with all makes coverage for light, medium, and heavy-duty trucks. With thousands of units in stock, we ship the same or next day, and be sure to check out our comprehensive reverse OEM lookup tool. Always new, never remanufactured. For more information, be sure to visit dpfxfit.com. That's dpfxfit.com.
Drag racing fans, check out Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. It's the free, family-friendly fantasy bracket game. Now, after final qualifying at every national event, you can fill out your bracket for all the pro classes.
It's free, easy to click on your picks. If you need some help, just hit the randomizer button to fill in the blanks. It's for fun, stay engaged, and pick your winners today.
Filling out our WFO Radio Fan Tracks Fantasy League for NASCAR with the Cookout Busch Clash this weekend and the Daytona 500 the following weekend. We still have some time for the Drag Race Bracket Bonanza League, but that is up and available. If you want to go to Drag Race Bracket Bonanza and join our league, you may do so at any time. We've got to have the winner from last year on. I am currently searching for that person's contact information. The guys from Life's a Drag are going to be on tomorrow, 12 noon Eastern time, and they are going to have a whole bunch of influencers on, social media, drag racing themed influencers, including Beer Guy, and they're going to talk about chasing speed. Chasing speed, a hot topic in the drag racing world. Yes, I know. If you're in Canada or outside the United States, you're struggling to see it. It is my understanding that people are working on making that happen. You know, the tech-savvy folks are saying, use a VPN. I don't know VPN either, guys. I'm not VPN either, but I did watch it on Vice last week. I watched it in real time. I watched it like watch party viewing, and I was so impressed. I was so happy and joyful at the accomplishment of the NHRA media department. So often in our lives, we'll hype something, and I admit, I confess, there have been 100 things that I've hyped because we should all watch it. And when it's rolled out, I've been like, it's good, pretty good, maybe even very good. This was genuinely great. And I think Brian Lones was right when he said it's the best thing that the NHRA media department has ever done. And the Austin Prock story, so poignant with what's going on, and you watch it so differently. And I felt all this genuine emotion about our sport and the people in our sport. Of course, we spoke with Austin last week on the show. He revealed some very interesting details and wrinkles about the reasoning. If you did not see that interview, I suggest you go back and watch it and check it out. I'm thrilled that he elected to come on WFO Radio right after the big Ford announcement and share his story. And that, you know, that video, we do an hour-and-a-half show, guys. It's not like a clip. So to get thousands and thousands of views is really nice, and I appreciate it. But we're always trying to grow and get bigger with interviews like the one you're about to watch. Unrivaled, a women's basketball tournament that is a break-off additional league from the WNBA. They're not related, so get a chance to, earn some cash in the offseason, if you will, and showcase the talents of female athletes in the WNBA. They've been extremely supportive of the National Hot Rod Association as really the only sport where women and men compete with and against each other at the same time, and women kick butt, right, on a regular basis. Maddie Gordon, Jasmine Salinas, and Ida Zetterstrom came to Miami last week. I was able to go down. We went to South Beach. We did an interview. Josh Hatchett working the lights. You might hear me yelling at him some point in it. So let's check out the interview. And this is really the first time I'll be watching it. Isn't that interesting? And watch the background, just the beauty of South Florida on display. Maddie Gordon and Jasmine Salinas with us here on WFO Radio. Here we are, WFO Radio, tip of South Beach. We are down here in the MIA with Maddie Gordon and Jasmine Salinas, hanging out, having a good time. It's starting to rain. We're going to hang tough, though.
It is. I saw the tree.
Why are you guys here?
We are here for the Unrivaled Basketball game.
I'm glad you remembered that. I wasn't even sure. Jasmine, you guys are supporting. You guys are representing for female athletes.
Yes, we are. We're here for Unrivaled. We're also here for the drinks. We're here to have fun, the sunshine, get out of Indiana.
Exactly. It is warm, I believe. For those of you that are interested, I would call it, I don't know, like 70 degrees, 69.
It's very nice. Like, Jasmine lives in Indiana. I'm from California. We're both from California, but I've been there for 8 days, and I was really excited to come to some sunshine and some warmth. It's a little humid, but it's really nice here.
But I love the fact that you're supporting the folks at Unrivaled. They came out, WNBA, they have a winter league, if you will, 3-on-3, really cool. You're in Miami, you're going to go to the games, and I'm super excited. We were doing this before that, but they came to our races. Like, the WNBA has been super supportive. Talk a little bit about, we had one of the players out there in Vegas. She was like, time out, but she got in your car, Maddie.
Yeah, that was so cool. It was so nice to meet her, and it was really awesome. She came over, we did a jersey swap, which is really cool, and I convinced her to get in my car. It took a little convincing, but she did, and it was so cool because she said she had a great time in it. And it's funny because, I'm short. I'm like a little person, and where my knees are compared to her knees was really it was cool to see. And I'm really looking forward to watching her play tomorrow because she was kind of on our turf, and now we're on her turf. So I'm excited about that.
I love the fact that you guys are supporting and representing.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. I think I've really loved what NHRA has done, really bringing out a lot of the female drivers and allowing us to go and experience and support other women in other forms of sports. I got to do the volleyball game last year in Indy, and that was really exciting. Likewise, getting to have other athletes come out to our sport and then getting to go over to theirs and watch them and support them is super cool.
I don't think, and we do a good job, but we don't put it in people's face. But there is no other sport that I know of where women and men compete against each other on an even playing field. It's no big deal, and it could go either way. Can you think of one?
No, and that's been the biggest thing, I think, when we are sharing and having other athletes come out and learn about NHRA drag racing, and their first thing that they say is that they're so shocked that, we're not racing in our own league. We're racing alongside, other competitors that are men. You have fathers and daughters getting to race each other and, multi-generations, and I think that part alone is, so cool. You have husbands and wives, and it's such a unique thing that NHRA drag racing has, and I'm really proud of it.
So unique.
It really is, and, there's uniqueness everywhere you look, but for one, how about Tony Stewart and Leah Pruitt? Husband and wife race against each other. That is so cool. That's something that everyone's going to want to watch. And like she mentioned, we don't race in our own league. We race against men, women, everything. So it's really cool. And to me, what sets you apart is how hard you work, because you come out here, a girl or a guy, it doesn't matter, but if you don't work hard, you're not going to see results. And to me, once you get in that race car, you're all equal. If you put in the same amount of work, in a sense, you're on the same playing field. So I love being part of NHRA. I've been part of it my whole life, so I know nothing different. I'm a little biased, but I love the sport, and I'm really excited to come out and support WNBA as they supported us at the NHRA races.
Excellent. I'm super excited for the folks at Unrivaled. Let's talk chasing speed. What did you think? All right, and before you tell me what you think, guys, I loved it. I thought it was amazing. It couldn't have been better, chasing speed. It could, in my opinion, it couldn't have been better. They couldn't have done anything better with the first episode. I hear it's only going to get better. Lone told me that was the worst of the 6 episodes. What, you were in it, Jasmine. You did great. What did you think?
Thank you. I thought it was really great. I think what I'm really excited about with Chasing Speed is that there are so many stories and so many faces that make NHRA what it is. And I think the fact that we're able to now tell those stories and share all of those different personalities, there's going to be a personality that somebody out there who maybe doesn't know what NHRA Drag Racing is, but they're going to know about it now because they're going to be able to connect with one of those different personalities that's unique and what's making our sport so special. And so I think being able to have, over the course of these next 6 episodes, being able to share, what makes NHRA Drag Racing so special, I'm really excited for people to see that.
And Maddie, your thoughts?
Yeah, same here, honestly. I think that reality TV shows really kind of bring a new light to, heck, whether it's real estate, whether it's F1, whatever it might be. To me, I got into watching the Receiver Show on Netflix about the football players, and so I actually started watching the Lions because I really liked Monroe St. Brown. I was like, man, I just liked how he was. I liked how he interacted with his team and his persona. So I was just like, you know what? I'm following the Lions now. I'm a Lions fan because of that show. And so I feel like this is a great opportunity for people who maybe didn't see those different personalities in drag racing, or maybe didn't know what it was. But this is an opportunity for people to understand drag racing at a different level than what you see on our standard show. So I'm excited for it, and I think it's a huge deal, and I'm looking forward to watching it every single Wednesday coming on here soon.
Leading into the Gatornationals every single Wednesday, I think it was great too, guys. Like, it was really weird. The big complaint was you couldn't watch it in Canada, and to me, like, wow, the NHRA crowd had no complaints. That's pretty shocking. All right, plans for 2026, 75th season of the NHRA. What are you locked in for, Jasmine?
We're hoping to finalize and put out our 2026 schedule soon, but we're definitely adding a lot more races than we had in 2025. So I'm really excited to be putting out those announcements really soon for you guys, and I look forward to coming out and doing a lot more racing this year.
We're going to see you a lot, and we're going to build upon it. Obviously, you could use a big corporate sponsor, Jasmine Salinas, TV star. Maddie, what about you? Full season, Carlisle Tools. We've seen you on social. You're living your dream. What's it like?
Yeah, you know, it truly is life-changing. I mean, there's no other way to put it than I'm so honored to be able to drive for Ron Capps Motorsports. I mean, he's a legend in our sport, and just to be able, honestly, just to have him know my name, let alone be able to drive for him is such an honor. So it is truly life-changing to be where I'm at right now, and representing Carlisle Tools is something I'm so passionate about because I work on cars. I've been doing it since I was a kid, so to represent a brand that I've used and truly believe in is so natural to me and something I'm so excited to do. And being part of their rebrand, it's an amazing opportunity, and I will be hitting the gas for the first time in a Top Fuel dragster in less than a month. It's been over a year and a half in the making, closer to 2 years now, and it is almost here. I can almost taste it. So I'm just so stoked, and I can't wait to get started.
All right, I want to wrap up the interview with a fact, an interesting fact that I think you're going to like. Guys, we're down here on South Beach. They're here for Unrivaled. I happen to live like in the region, so I get a call to come down, and hopefully you guys are enjoying yourselves. You having fun?
Oh yeah, heck yeah. We saw a cruise ship go by.
And dolphins.
Right.
Seriously.
I'm a good tour guide?
Yeah. You're a great tour guide.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Not for everybody, though. Did you know that there is a chance that you two will have to race each other in the 75th season of NHRA?
We were talking about the Diamond Y. Like, we're going to be competing for that.
Yeah.
Like, that's so exciting.
Yeah, I'm really excited. You know, Maddie's going to be working with Rob Flynn, Troy Fashing, and a couple other guys that we had on our team. And, you know, honestly, I couldn't imagine any other driver, you know, that to be able to basically inherit, you know, our old team. I think she's worked so hard. She's really made a name for herself in the sport, and I'm really looking forward to, you know, racing against her, watching her journey, and, you know, hopefully, you know, competing for those trophies.
Yeah, it's going to be a great season. I'm looking forward to racing against you. Like, there's just, it's an honor to be able to, like, I think about the ladder that we're going to be on, and I'm like, I've watched these people my whole life. Like, I can remember being like 10 years old and watching, you know, Doug Collette, Sean Langton on the TV screen, and so I'm just so excited. I'm pumped, and it's getting really close.
Is there anything else you want to say to everybody out there? You know, my show, I don't reach everybody, but I reach quite a few people. Is there anything you want to say to those folks, Jasmine?
Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning into WFO. We learned what WFO stands for the kids and the adults.
Wet furry otters.
Wet furry otters.
Yes.
Thank you for having us. This has been exciting. Hopefully I'm on your show a little bit more this year now that I'm racing a little bit more. But yeah, come out to Gainesville. Maddie and I are going to be coming out and racing. I'll be back in the car, and Maddie's going to be making her Top Fuel debut. And I'm excited.
So cool. Maddie, any thoughts for anybody, anything that I didn't ask?
Yeah, no, I second that, honestly. It's something you cannot experience through the TV screen. You have to be there. You have to be in the stands. I mean, these cars set off car alarm, or these race cars set off car alarms. It's insane. I mean, it shakes your body. It's an out-of-body experience. I still don't understand how a human can be in that car, but I'll let you know here in about a month.
I am so excited for this.
Yes.
Maddie, Jasmine, thank you so much. Look at this. Seaboard.
Yes.
This is there is
This
a boat.
is a view here in Miami.
Is this like a first for drag racing interviews?
I mean, I am amazed.
Historic first right here?
Historic. This is like going to go down in New York Times.
That's what we're talking about. That's what we do on WFO Radio. All right, from South Beach, back to the studio, Jasmine Salinas, Maddie Gordon. We're going to go get a bite to eat and watch Chasing Speed. That is the most important note for everybody, right?
Agreed, absolutely.
Yeah, the more views we get, hopefully, you know, Chasing Speed, it's been such an incredible journey for all of us that's been able to be a part of it, and we're looking forward to see where it goes.
There you go. You heard WFO from South Beach.
There you go. WFO from South Beach. How about that? Okay. Kurt Spittler
You were right about the cameraman. The camera, you were right, Kurt Spittler. The audio was incredible. And the content was pretty good too. But wow. And Josh Hatchett from NHRA, thank you, NHRA, for providing the photographs of Joe Amato from the NHRA archive. Thank you for that. But also for holding the light on us and making us watchable. Because it did get dark. It was like from late afternoon to dusk tonight during that 7-minute interview. How exciting, is it to see Maddie Gordon go through this process and realize her dream right before all of us? And whether you like the idea of a sportsman racer getting a top fuel ride from Ron Capps and going out there and mixing it up, or maybe you're a supporter of veteran old guard racers and you want to see them go out there and beat her, that's all good. It's all good. Very exciting. All right, guys, drop some comments. Let's get your comments in the comment section. See what you have to say about everything that has occurred here on WFO Radio. And how about this? This is important. I am dropping a YouTube link in the chat as we speak. If you're watching on YouTube, there is another link, and it is not to anything WFO. It is to 104.3 WQAM. My friend Sports Radio Vlad, who has appeared on the Ignition Show from time to time. Vlad and I used to work together way back in the day. Joe and Mark Show at 560 WQAM, where I got started in talk radio. When they were going to be in Miami, we reached out to Vlad. We put him together with NHRA, and Ida, Jasmine, and Maddie went into the WQAM studios and did a live interview, which then they put out on YouTube. It went on the air in South Florida on the weekend of the championship games in the NFL, just days after the Canes had lost in the national championship. And somehow NHRA Drag Racing got 23 minutes of airtime on FM in Miami, the number 11 market in the country. I think that's and they replayed it on Saturday. So what I'm asking for you to do right now is stack the deck. This is like a clandestine operation, guys. This is the WFO is all about, really, right? Click on this link, man. Let's make sure the drag racing video gets an unnatural number of views. Whether you like it or you don't like it, or you think that that's not what I care about. I want the people at 104.3 in Miami to see that it was not a waste of their time having these drag racing girls on. And maybe in the future, they promoted the Gatornationals. They promoted the Unrivaled event. They talked about chasing speed. What more can you ask for? Great job by the media department of the NHRA getting into the largest media market that is near the Gatornationals. I guess Atlanta is similar distance. And then you've got Miami, where we are the gateway to the Americas, South America, to the Caribbean. We've got a lot of drag racing fans, drag strips in Aruba and Puerto Rico. So many fans from outside the country come through Miami to go to the Gatornationals. And we had many tracks, Miami Hollywood Speedway, for many years. And unfortunately, we don't race there right now. But Gainesville's only 4 hours and 40 minutes away. Before we get to your comments, I want to tell you about HusseyPerformance.net, not just copper gaskets anymore. David Allen and the team out of Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania. Here's the number. You know if you need gaskets, and you know if you like WFO. It's just that simple. 412-716-4872. Top quality materials, top quality production, top quality customer service, shipped out the door, sometimes the same day, sometimes next day. But they'll get them to you fast. David and the team doing a great job. 412-716-4872. Not just copper. They have composite gaskets, oil pan gaskets, valve cover gaskets, whatever you need for whatever your combination. Top alcohol dragster, funny car, top sportsman, top dragster. They do contingency programs in the NHRA. Also PDRA, top sportsman and top dragster. At least last year they did. And be sure to check out David Allen and the team. Thank you, David, for being a supporter of WFO Radio. We really appreciate the folks at HusseyPerformance.net. Also want to shout out to Marvin Rodak, RodaksCoffeeandGrills.com. If you want to support WFO in a very simple and inexpensive way, call Marvin, 817-924-6821. Order a bag of coffee, roasted fresh per your order. You will enjoy it. And Marvin has been one of our longest sponsors. RodaksCoffeeandGrills.com. Remember the Rodaks Cadillac out there at the Stampede of Speed. Yeah, that's him. Also, Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, the Dragster Adventure. Frank Hawley, he is a huge part of this sport just under the surface, like is a little bit underground with the professional drivers that he's helping. But he will help you drive a dragster for fun, just for fun. Not trying to get a license, not trying to become a champion. The Dragster Adventure. You and your friends go race the cars for fun with Frank. FrankHawley.com. I think you're really going to enjoy it. And since I'm ticking through all my sponsors, guys, thank you so much. We got right to Joe Amato. I normally do the sponsors at the beginning of the show, but like Bernie Speed Shop, it's connected to the Gatornationals because this is where the Fan Fest is going to be. BURNYZZ.com. I've got your whole itinerary planned for Gainesville. You got to land in Orlando on Wednesday and go straight to Bernie's. That's it. Go straight to Bernie's for the Fan Fest. It's going to be great. But they have over 100,000 square feet. They're a body shop. They're a detail shop. They do frame-off restorations. They do extreme quality automobiles. They buy and sell on consignment. So if you've got a really cool car of consequence, perhaps you want to sell it to them instead of putting it into one of those newspapers or Facebook Marketplace where you're not going to get the best dollar for it. Bernie's, BURNYZZ.com. The Patreon Listener Club. Been sending out T-shirts and stickers and patches and all the great stuff that you get for joining our VIP Listener Club. Yeah, it costs a couple of bucks, you choose. But if you pay the monthly, you're part of the secret society, and you get to hear all the stuff behind the scenes that the secret society gets to hear. You get the Monday Motivation sometimes. You get to watch Ignition. You get to hear it from Heiner. And we're always ramping up the stuff. Plus, if you sign up for a year right now, you get a full year. So I'll send you a T-shirt. Patreon.com/WFO radio. And shout out to Redline Synthetic Oil. Thank you, Redline, for supporting us through 2025 and now. Appreciate you. Thanks to FTI. I wanted to put a trans temp gauge in Project Pontiac. And Grant and the team at FTI sent me a different trans pan, drilled and ready to go. I just got to swap it out. Super excited about that. Our friends at Total Seal Piston Rings. Thank you, Total Seal. Hidden Horsepower has been rocking. Scott Shafaroff, Pat Musey telling us about Sick Week, all the good stuff he's going to do. That's all in the Hidden Horsepower podcast and YouTube channel. But it's all an exercise to let you know about Total Seal Piston Rings. And of course, Jesse Converters, the DPF X-Fit and G-Sport sport models. Matt Latino closing in on a full season for Pro Stock. Very excited for Matt. But really, if you're an over-the-road trucker, if you have a trucking business, if you need these particulate filters for diesels, reach out to the folks at Jesse Converters. They are big supporters of WFO Radio. And finally, since I'm shilling, right? The shilling is extreme. Get yourself a WFO t-shirt. Just that simple. In our swag shop. The link is in the chat. The link is in the chat. You got all kinds of homework. I'm partial to the Project Pontiac one. And if you haven't yet seen the Summit catalog, yeah, I'm going to be pushing this for 3 months, guys. It's the one with Dallas Glenn on the cover. There is a feature of Project Pontiac inside. And when you open it, you're thinking, what can I order as a way of rewarding the folks at Summit for highlighting WFO Radio and Joe? In fact, there's even a QR code to our website, which is, I didn't even know they were going to do that. Thank you, Summit. Order a can of Foggit. This is going to work on your squeaky sliding glass door, your kid's bicycle chain. It is a high-end fogging oil designed for purpose-built racing engines to keep them safe in breaks between action, whether overnight or a week or two. But really, you can use it on anything. Get yourself a can of Foggit at summit.racingequipment.com. All right, I've stalled long enough. That was all self-serving for you guys to see what kind of comments you guys have. All right, Keith Kaufman says, Chasing Speed is a great show. Good point. Good place to start there. Chasing Speed is a great show. It was great. The Proc story. Well, like Steve says, the first episode didn't age well with the Proc story. See, that's perspective right there. This is the part of the show where I attack the audience for the comments. No, man. That's what makes it good. All of us that know what happened, that's what makes it emotional. It's not that it didn't age well. It aged perfectly. That they had all of that content to show to you how deep and emotional this thing is that you're experiencing. How big a deal it is for Austin to leave and all the associated reasons, whatever they may be. So I think it aged perfectly. Decaffeinated coffee, Joe. Yeah, they've got it. I was at the Gators for the 50th anniversary. Can't believe it's 75 already. Well, it's 50th anniversary of NHRA. Right. Can't wait to see you on the Not Bland show tonight. I'm excited about being on the Not Bland show tonight. Big Daddy next week. Yeah, everyone's excited about Garlits. What are we going to be talking about? So first of all, this is very exciting because Garlits can hear again. Past couple of times Garlits was on, the hearing was not good. 5%, 2%. Now he's back. And so it's going to be, I think, a little bit different experience with Garlits next week on the show. Going to talk about Bob Fry, talk about Steve Boggs, going to talk about everybody that's going into the International Drag Racing Hall of Fame prior to the Gatornationals on Thursday. Thank you, Vice TV, for letting us watch on YouTube and not needing a subscription, says Treasure Maze. Well, Vice isn't everywhere. They're trying to grow their network. They've got really interesting program like Who Killed WCW and The Dark Side of the Ring, which was a marathon prior to Chasing Speed. Wrestling fans, perfect. That's perfect for drag racing. I think there's a lot of synergy there. I really enjoyed the presentation on Vice. I would imagine now that they've purchased this show, it's going to get a lot of airtime and just get run in perpetuity. That's really what made Street Outlaws popular. The fact that they just ran it all day long, every day, pretty much, and you could watch Street Outlaws. I think what Vice is doing is great. The least you can all do is go subscribe to their YouTube channel. NHRA is truly speed for all, says Mac. I think Mac's going to be on with the Life's a Drag guys. I think so. 2 future Hall of Fame women just beginning their journey. Possibly, that's a big statement you just made out there. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. I'm excited that Jasmine is going to be racing more races, and I'm excited that Maddie is going to be out there racing at all. It's a big deal. And Will Smith, Will did not get invited to go down to the Unrivaled thing, but I'm excited to have Will on the show. But the Life's a Drag guys got dibs. They did call dibs on Will Smith. Sorry, Will. Life's a Drag. I'm a fan of NHRA and Vice. Hopefully Vice fans will give the NHRA a chance. Well, yeah. They got 11 million subscribers on their YouTube. So, that's big. Let's see. Hi, Michaela. How are you doing today? Oh, yeah, that's exactly. What furry otters? Yeah, that's just a joke, guys. Let's see. What does WFO stand for? It stands for Wide Freaking Open. But depending on who we're talking to. If it's kids, then, wet furry otters. We had a t-shirt idea with a cute little otter. And it spun out of control. Next thing you know, he was smoking. It just got out of control. Looks like a very exciting year for the ladies of the NHRA. There's my YouTube drop. Hopefully Force can get in a funny car and do a burnout this year. That would be amazing. I don't care. Hand to God. Don't care. I've seen John Force do enough burnouts. I am satisfied with John Force. Maybe John's watching. John, you've entertained me so much over my life. From that first tour you gave me and my dad in your trailer back in the early 80s, Mountain Dew car, till now. John Force doesn't have to do anything more for me. And I'm not asking anything more from John Force. And I would recommend to you, everybody, to also feel that way. Now, I can't control how you feel. This guy wants a burnout. I think about things can happen on a burnout. They can. So I don't need that. I really don't. I want to see Maddie Gordon do a burnout. That's just my opinion. Fun to see a big old ship in the background on the WFO show. We work on them big ship engines. Great interview with the racing lady, says Ben Blomberg. Thank you, Ben. I appreciate it. So Josh Hatchett's holding the light and he sees the boat. I don't see the boat. You could see I was just barely struggling to do the interview, just struggling to survive, holding that little mic. And here it comes. I thought it looked really good. This guy wants Bob Wilbur on. Love Bob Wilbur. Getting close to the start of the season here. Awesome show. Looking forward to this week's Chasing Speed. So I heard that this week's Chasing Speed talks a lot about Snake and Garlits. And so I don't know about the episodes. I do know that Brian Loans told me that the first episode, like all the episodes are great and covering different topics. So I'm going to be sitting in front of my TV at 9 o'clock on Wednesday night, watch party, ready to go with no concept of what I'm going to get served. It's very exciting. Cliff, awesome show. Looking forward to Chasing Speed. I just said that. Soak up some of that South Florida sun for us. 20 degrees here in Kentucky with wind and ice and snow, says Victor. I was in Kansas, Victor. Shout out to the West Central Division, D5. I was there. It felt like minus 13 in Overland Park, Kansas. Had a great time with Nick Duty and Rob Park and Paige Hamlin and the whole team there from D5. All the racers had a great time. Gary Stinnett was there, came up. A lot of fun. A lot of fun. A lot of people did cancel because of the blizzard. Apparently the blizzard's name is Fern. Didn't know that. But we had a blast. It was great. And I got out. That's the most important thing. I got out just in time. What was happening here in Florida, I do want to mention Stevie Fast Jackson won the U.S. Street Nationals at Bradenton Motorsports Park. They had over 70 pro mods there. And so this Drag Illustrated Winter Series is proving, along with Bradenton, right? Like the perfect place in the perfect place, showcasing that racers want to get out of the snow and do something during the winter. Think of how that race prevented all that equipment from potentially being damaged in a blizzard because everybody was out of there in beautiful Western Florida, Bradenton Motorsports Park. Stevie Fast gets the win. Derek Menholt red lighted in the final round, but everybody is excited about it. Kim Pez texting me saying that the young man did real well. Everybody is excited about what's going on. Yeah, my son kicked butt at the U.S. Street Nationals. He would be a great guest on your show. Or him and BP together, Cole Pez. Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Kim. Yeah, good stuff. I'm working on Project Pontiac. Fantastic show. Yeah, anytime you can have Joe Amato, it's probably going to be pretty good. I tried to get Brian Loans. I got first attempt was Brian Loans. Didn't work out. Brian busy. Sorry, Joe, busy. No, he's got some sort of commitment that he's doing. He couldn't do it. So then Ida was not in the pre-recorded interview because she came in late. So I figured I'll have Ida on the show and then I'll play the interview with Jasmine and Maddie. And Ida is in Bradenton, hint. So she couldn't do the show. So it was just going to be me talking to you guys, something that I feel very comfortable doing and love. And by the way, I don't think you get that anywhere else. Everybody else is guest. I'm ready to debate you. I think it's different. Maybe not. And then I get the text this morning from Joe Amato. Joe, are we doing the show today? Yes, we are doing the show. That's just like I planned. Who, in your opinion, are the early favorites for the Gators? Great show. Hex sign flying says, thank you. Oh, man, I don't know. Josh Hart? Josh Hart always wins in his first race at the Gatornationals in Top Fuel. I don't know. It just seems good. Doug Coletta, man. Doug Coletta. Those guys are not slowing down. Sean Langdon. Those guys are like, all right, Doug, you've won enough. So, I don't know. I think that's possible. Pro stock. I don't know. Matt Hartford just popped into my mind. If that happens, remember this. Steve says, great show. Thank you. I don't do predictions anymore. How's Mike Salinas doing? We never hear about him anymore. Says Lonnie, I talked to Jasmine about it. She says Mike is doing well and even, entertained, maybe doing something this year. We'll see. Tell us about the new driver for Big Jim Dunn, Todd Lysenko, the new old driver. Todd was with Jim Dunn Racing years ago. I think maybe a decade ago. Hate to say that Todd is known for like two of the biggest explosions I've ever seen, but that's kind of a fact. I'm excited about it. Way to go, Todd. Like different driver, new, fresh, another personality. So way to go. Will Smith, hell of a wheel, man. See big things coming. Well, now's the time to show us, Will, right? Like this is what's great about drag racing. And I don't want to pile hyperbole on top of this young man's shoulders, but this is what's crazy about drag racing. I was having this about myself. You work so hard to get the opportunity, and then you get it. And then, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Are you going to live up to the expectation you set for yourself? Or, like me a couple of times, right? Leaving before the tree was activated, failing miserably in front of the world, right? But I have high confidence in Will. I have been a big supporter of Will and his career because he is a genuine person in my limited interactions with Will Smith. So I'm excited for Will Smith in that second Randy Glady car, Bluebird Turf. Man, you can watch it the next day on the YouTube channel, Best of Both Worlds. Come on, guys, let's not be negative. Someone was being negative. I am actually stunned at the lack of negativity towards chasing speed. Yes, people who can't see it have a right to be a little bit negative. I'll give you that. If you can't see it, you want to see it, that's fine. But I haven't really seen, I saw one guy say, oh, Austin Prock, ho-hum, whatever, meh, right? That's just, if you didn't get emotional in that Austin Prock feature, they had 44 minutes to explain what is drag racing. Drag racing is a sport. It's dangerous. It came up in the 50s. It was invented by this guy, Wally Parks. John Force is the biggest star. Where did John Force come from? John Force was in a bad crash. He almost passed away. Who's going to take the reins and carry John Force Racing into the future? They had to do that in 44 minutes, and they did it. And you see Austin, and he goes out there and wins the championship, and you're thinking, man. And I think at some point they're going to reveal the rest of the story right before the Gatornationals. It's going to be incredible. And yes, I admit, I've done Hand to God twice on the show. That's fine. I was hoping to be in it. I was hoping, like I was there. Oh, I hope they use something of me. Do I exist? Do I actually exist? Do I exist? Yes, I existed twice. I said, welcome back, my voice. Welcome back, John Force, and talking about Austin Prock as champion at the Gatornationals last year. Super excited about that. Part of drag racing history, baby. A voice, but I know it's me. And yes, I care. Totally. Joe, you should have Bob Fry on the show. Thank you, Blake. That's a good idea. I love Bob. Joe New Drag Racing, talking about Joe Amato. He always been one of my favorites. First t-shirt my parents got me from the drag races was a Joe Amato shirt, says Dan. Man, I went and looked for a photo, couldn't find it. Did find a photo of my dad wearing a Joe Amato t-shirt. And then it made me think, oh my gosh, my dad has a collection of classic drag racing t-shirts in the packages from the 1980s. I'll bet you there is a large red Joe Amato ringer waiting for me to wear in the 75th season. Is now the time to open the shirts? Is this what my dad was planning for his whole life? The 75th season of the NHRA? Is this the reason he saved all those shirts and gave the NHRA drivers $25 that he didn't not use so that I can wear the shirts in the 75th season? Or should we continue to save them for a rainy day? Great job. Jeggy, Hogan, Angel, Sean. Yeah, the top 75. That's right. Jeg Coughlin, Matt Hagan, Angel. No, man, you're on the wrong week, I think. Let's talk about that. That's good. I'm trying to catch up, man. I'm trying to catch up, guys. I've fallen behind on the comments, and now I got to go do the top 75 because we've been talking about him. Sean Langdon, I believe, deserving. Langdon is, he's won championships in many categories. I count him as a sportsman racer for you people who are complaining about not enough sportsman racers. Jeg Coughlin, count him as a sportsman racer because, of course, 5 Pro Stock World Championships, but really he's a sportsman racer. Angel, the 3 World Championship, now racing again. Jeff Taylor, sportsman racer. Gary Selzy, all added to the top 75 list. Who among them is undeserving? Come on. That would be ridiculous. Thank you for that. Thanks again for another great show. I don't have Vice. I watch on YouTube. Says not bland. I recognize your voice, Joe. Well done. Yeah, Cliff. That was a big moment for me. A little bit of a fist pump. You should have Brian Loans on the show. I tried, Blake. You know, now that this guy's on reality TV on Vice, you know, he can't be bothered with. No, listen, I'm kidding. I'm not doing that to Loans. Loans has been available whenever. On this given occasion, he was busy. And it worked out because we had Joe Amato. I would hate to have bumped somebody. You know what I mean? Would hate to have bumped somebody. Sorry, Joe Amato. And we don't bump them off. We just bump them back. All right, that's going to do it. Thank you very much. Appreciate all you guys. Like, subscribe, click bell. Do not miss. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud. We post the podcast within 1 hour of the show. Does it always go up with 1 hour? No. But often it does. The Ignition podcast was great. We had a blast last night. Very fast-paced show. Learned about Australia Day. That's kind of cool. And really, it's all about chasing speed. Racing t-shirts were much cheaper in the 80s. I believe they were $20. I don't, recall. I got this great mirror, was $45 back in 1982. I remember people questioned my parents for buying it for me. They called it the $1 million mirror. I'll bring it in one day. It's in the other room. I do have some NHRA stuff outside of the studio. I still have it. That's how I know a collectible is worth it. If you still have it, if you actually keep it, right? Like this one, everybody's going to have these forever. And they're so popular, maybe more people want rings. Maybe more rings, maybe different rings. It's all kinds of collectibles that you can get, right? Is that a Canasenka? Yeah, it is. Not everything has to make sense. Thanks to Sports Radio Vlad for having the NHRA stars on. Please watch that YouTube video. I'm going to go work on Project Pontiac. Orlando Speed World is getting closer and closer, and I have maybe uncovered a bit of a problem that I'm going to have to address on Project Pontiac. That could be a tripping point. The drama. Will we make the race? Right? Project Pontiac right here back at Miami Hollywood Speedway back in the day. Hey, thanks to Joe Amato. Thanks to Maddie Gordon. Thanks to Jasmine Salinas. And most importantly, thanks to all of you for supporting this show. Remember, guys, we're the mom and pop store on the corner going up against the Walmart, big corporations of the world. Thank you for your support. WFO.